Hey everybody, this is tech update number 6. We're going to be talking about bullets, some of the prototype work that I've been doing, a little bit about the HUD and the first person player, and then we're going to spend the rest of the time covering the successful implementation of the class switch between cop and robber. So first things first, the projectile is nothing special, right? It's still a little orange ball, but now it's got some slight drag to it. Basically, it calculates a drag force using a drag coefficient that I pulled from here. I found a really useful form talking about how these guys are going to make Arma in Unreal 4. So super useful, reading through all their logic and math and then trying to figure it out. And then was able to basically go on Wikipedia and learn a little bit about drag and the formulas behind mostly air, right? I'm not trying to pass bullets through water. There's some things still not done, like area and mass are just placeholder values. We'll just kind of decide what feels right for us, right? Because we are not using like physical bullets, and we're not basing things on physical accuracy. So we're going to be making stuff up there. Apply the force, execute on tick. I know that this probably isn't a huge important factor for us because of the fact of how small our map is, right? We're not trying to do like long range sniping. But just a little bit of something is nice that's more controllable rather than just like the gravity value that goes between like 0.9 and 1, which is huge for their system. So this just gives a lot more control. This is going to be expanded later to really cover a lot more types, like type of damage, logic of bullets, things like that. This is more like a parent class that's starting out, and then it will be expanded further. So jumping into the player, we got a player HUD. I'm just going to throw that up real quick so we can see it. You can see that it's got the class in the top left, its kills in the top right, and its health in the bottom left. Nothing fancy, really not trying to be. Just covering the basics. Not even showing ammo right now, because it wasn't important for this test. So the big part of this week, the reason this has taken me so long, is the successful implementation of when a player kills another player, they become a robber or a cop, or neither, depending on things. So we're going to run through some examples here. Right now it's randomly deciding who's a police and who's a robber, which is I think what we want. Right now it's just one of them. So we've got all three. That's our robber, that's a police, and this guy's obviously a police. Where is he? Okay, so there's that. Okay. And we're going to shoot downfield. Should be 5 shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yay, I'm a robber. You'll see the bullet is bouncing a little bit there. It's showing a little bit of an artifact. Nothing to be concerned about. I'm still using the original projectile movement system. I haven't cleaned all of that out. So, this player was a robber. He is now not a robber. We can check that by looking and seeing he's no health, and he's a policeman, and he's got no kills. This player is a robber with 1 kill and full health. And this player is going to kill that player and transfer that. 2, 3, 4, 5. You see that now he's the robber. Now he is not. He is still not. But he is going to come back, and he's going to become a robber, and he is now police. I am not doing running the respawn logic because I just want to run this test very quickly and cleanly. So we're going to do this real quick. This policeman's going to step over. This robber's going to go hiding. So we're going to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see that they are both still police. Right. And he's going to come in, and he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see that he's still a robber, and everybody else is still the same. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Right now the kill tracker only counts if you kill robbers, which is what I want for now. In the long run, I know we're going to have lots of different ways that score is calculated and everything like that. So right now I'm just starting out really simple. So where am I going from here? Creating a system for a gun to be slotted. Right now I'm using a bullet class that'll be a gun class with different guns created. So, you can pick up, run over, select at the start of play. Different types of bullets that'll be applied to the guns, probably using a struct form of some kind. Speed, damage, trajectory, drag coefficients, all that kind of logic and things like that, depending on how detailed we want to get there. Just want to build out that system. And then last but not least, work on developing that, what I'm calling the tally system, which is just the score. So that's the end of this video as far as like an update goes. I'm going to dive a little bit into conversation about some of the tech. Again, it's not because I expect or want anyone to like, totally understand all this stuff. It's a little bit more helpful for me because I have actually ended up watching some of my old videos for help, and also tracking bugs and things like that, and looking back at videos and seeing what I was saying about it. So the reason this took so long to develop was sure as heck not this. It's this. This is the system that tracks who is the robber. Or rather, who is a robber, not who's the robber, right? There can be more than one robber. That's not a controlled thing in the game mode. The game system just simply grabs the players and is like, congratulations, you are now a robber. The rest of you are not. So it's not like a limited thing. Originally, what I did was I tried running this all in the character. Well, that didn't work, simply because of the fact that event any damage, which is, the node I've been told to use, the instigator is always a controller, despite the fact that the owner of the actor that is the bullet is a character. So that makes sense. As I tried running this, basically what I had was like the character calls its controller, that controller calls the other controller, that controller calls the character, and it got really messy really fast. And by messy, I mean it started getting really not just difficult as a designer to keep track of, but the tech was not working because of how many switching between executing on server and executing on client was getting really tricky, especially when I started doing this. When a controller wants to call a character, it needs to call from a player index. You want to know what's really great is that the controller has no idea what frickin' index number it is, and I don't have any idea what the index number is. The game state does, so I could have passed it to the character and then passed it back out. The problem with that is when people die or there's a misconnect issue or anything like that, that number can get messed up, which makes it not a reliable way to pull data. So I had to get rid of the character entirely and run everything on controller, which actually wasn't as bad as I thought. Basically what happens is the killer pulls from controller, and then the self pulls from controller, and they do a check, and it actually works really quickly, right? Looks really clean. Also because I spent a lot of time fixing it. The other benefit of this is that the HUD in multiplayer doesn't run on character. I know that a lot of us at SCAD, we run it just like, willy-nilly on event begin play, or, we're just like, oh, just cast to the viewport, yay! No, or create widget first. No, you got to do that on controller. Yeah, you can't do that on character or multiplayer. That's not how this works. So when I had this on character, it wouldn't update the text class properly. Even on a rep notify replication value, it wasn't running properly. So when I switched to controller, I solved two problems at once. This is cool, however, I'm concerned because when I was running these on a client to server, sometimes the client character wouldn't know that its controller was a robber. The HUD would know, every other character would know, but itself wouldn't know. And so these checks would start to fail because it would pull the data out of the controller and it would get a negative when it should get a positive. To solve this, I'm running these on multicast. Yeah, so I know that multicast is not what I'm supposed to be using. I'm supposed to be using on rep, but like I said earlier, I was having issues with on rep. So this solution works. It's got a 100% success rate. I've tested it continuously, and I am concerned that running too many things on multicast, especially on controller, is going to have problems, because although I'm not worried about players cheating, I'm worried about reliability of the call and overloading it. And using the server and client system correctly is important, and I know that I'm not quite doing that here. So in the event that when I move on to building the UI for Scoreboard, if I start running into issues, like I can't pull up data correctly because it's not updating properly, I'm willing to bet this is where it's coming from. I'm willing to bet this will create a problem for me later. So this is like a note from me. the only way I can think about fixing this right now is rereading all the stuff on rep notify and really diving into the relationship between controller and character. I don't think I've really understood who controls what, because I think the controller has the pawn of the character, and I don't think I fully understand how that works. So I think that's also holding me back. So if you sat through this entire ramble, I appreciate it. And I wish myself and all of us the best of luck in the coming week. So look forward to updating some more. Enjoying this much more than I was the lobby. And take care, guys.